Okay, class, today we are going to be talking about culture. So can anyone tell me what are some aspects of American culture that we've talked about previously in class? Caitlin?
American pie? Apple pie? American apple pie? I think we all know where I'm going with that.
Good. So
Food, you know, because we say as American as apple pie, so I think it's
good. Yes, apple pie is a very American sort of food that we eat here. Nate, did you have an example?
Our freedom of religion.
Religion, yes. Freedom of religion, that is a very big part of American culture. Today, we are going to specifically talk about the culture in Kenya. Does anyone have any idea what continent Kenya is on? Laura?
Africa.
Africa. Laura, would you mind coming up to this globe and showing us where Africa is? Here, I'll hold up so you can show this class. That is Africa. Thank you so much, Laura. Yes, this is the continent of Africa, and Kenya is this little spot right here. So Kenya is in East Africa. And you can see from this map of Kenya that the northern part of Kenya is mostly desert. There's not a lot of people that live there. It's very rural. Can someone tell me what the word rural means? Haley?
Bear?
Good, bare. Yeah, there's not a lot of people. There's a lot of land. Nate?
Like it's like the country, like no one lives there. In
Yeah.
America, we have a country. It's rural.
Yes, that is what rural means. And then the southern part of Kenya is more urban. So we talked about what rural means. Does anyone know what urban means? Caitlin?
Means there are cities and people.
Good. Yes, the southern part of Kenya has more cities and people. It is more urban. Good. So we talked a little bit about where Kenya is. So who can tell me again what continent Kenya is on? Nate?
Africa.
Africa. And what part of Africa is it in? Haley? Is it west? Is it north? Is it
East.
Yes, that is the part of Africa that Kenya is in, east. Good. So we talked about where Kenya is. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what Caitlin mentioned, the food in Kenya. So first, can I have a volunteer to come up to the front? Caitlin, thank you for volunteering.
It's my pleasure.
Great. Okay, I'm going to have you add some sugar to that cup. You're going to put more than you would think. So you're going to, let's say, just start adding a little bit and I'll tell you what. Okay, that's perfect. And now will you add the black tea bag? Great, thank you. And you can add the water from the water bottle. Just twist.
Oh, right.
Yes, there you go.
Smarter than what?
Great. And then will you add the milk? Thank you so much. Great. So what Caitlin just made, if this was hot, would be a cup of chai. This is how you spell chai. And chai in Kenya is just another word for tea. And that is what is drinking most of the time. At every meal, and even a lot of Kenyans have just chai for breakfast. So it's a very big staple in their diet. Can anyone tell me what something being a staple means? Nate?
They eat or drink it a lot.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, another food that is very common in Kenya is something that is kind of like a tortilla. You guys recognize tortillas? Do you eat them a lot? What do you guys eat with tortillas a lot? Laura?
Burritos.
Burritos. Good. Yeah, that's an example of what you eat with a tortilla. Well, in Kenya, they eat something like a tortilla, but it's called a chapati. And a lot of times they'll just eat it plain. They'll fold it up and they'll eat it without anything on it. Or sometimes they'll eat it with a stew, like this. They'll dip it in or kind of use it as sort of a spoon. So that is a chapati. And the last common Kenyan food is called ugali. Everyone say ugali.
Ugali.
Good. Ugali is sort of like if you cook rice. Does anyone ever eat rice? If you cook rice, let's say you cooked it in a pot, and you put that pot in the oven and you baked it. That would be kind of what ugali was like a rice pie. So they'll cut a piece out of it, like a pizza or a pie, and then they'll stick it in the stew, and that's the way that they eat ugali. Okay, so who can tell me again what is one of the biggest staples in the Kenyan diet and what some people have for breakfast? Haley?
Remember chai?
Chai.
Is the staple.
Yes, that is the staple, the biggest staple in the Kenyan diet. Okay, so we've talked about their food. Now I kind of want to talk about their clothing. So what are some things that you guys might wear in the summer? What are some, think for a second about some of the clothes that you might put on a hot day. Now talk with a partner and see if you guys are the same, if you would put on the same things.
You said shorts.
I would also put on shorts.
It's no.
Good.
Okay.
Okay, Caitlin, what did your group say that they would put on a hot day?
A tank top and shorts and flip-flops.
Good. Nate, what did your group say?
We said shorts.
Shorts. Good. Well, something crazy about Kenya, or not crazy, but just different, is they don't wear shorts. Shorts to them is very immodest. Can anyone explain the word immodest? Laura?
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate, good. Instead what they'll wear is a long skirt, or they'll wear a wraparound skirt like this called a kikoi. So they'll wrap it around and tuck it in, and this would be very common for them to wear. Girls, or women, men, girls, boys, everyone would wear these types of skirts. Another thing that's very common for them is jewelry. Kenyans a lot of times wear jewelry in order to make themselves feel beautiful. So whereas in America, a lot of times we will put on makeup or lipstick or something like that to make us feel beautiful, in Kenya they'll wear jewelry. So this would be a common necklace that you would find them wearing a lot in Kenya. And then you can see that there's a lot of color in these ladies' outfits, and even a little headdress. So color is a really big thing. Jewelry is a very big staple in their diet, and then in their clothes, and then long skirts are very common as well. Okay, so can someone tell me what is the one thing that we wear here that is not very common in Kenya that we mentioned? Laura?
Shorts.
Shorts. Very good. Okay, so we've talked about food, we talked about clothing, and finally I just want to finish with talking about the Kenyan people in general. When I spent 3 months in Kenya, I noticed very quickly that the Kenyan people are very welcoming. They enjoy having visitors, they love tourists. You can see from these ladies, they smile a lot. These ladies were selling the cloths that you see behind them. And we didn't buy anything, but they were still very friendly, very hospitable, just very welcoming people. So hospitality is a very big value in the Kenyan culture. Can someone tell me what hospitality means? It's kind of a hard word to describe. But does you guys actually talk in your groups and see if you can figure out a definition for hospitality?
Like when you're nice and welcoming to someone that isn't from where you are. You
welcome.
Okay, Haley, would you like to share what your group said about hospitality?
We said that it would be hospitality is a very welcoming act, and you welcome people into your house.
Yes, that is definitely what hospitality means. Does your group have something else that they said, Caitlin?
We pretty much said the same thing.
Okay, so very welcoming. They bring people into their homes. They like to cook for people, things like that. Do you feel like the American culture really values hospitality? Talk in your groups and kind of discuss that.
Probably not as much as Kenyan.
Laura, would you like to share what your group said?
So probably not as much as Kenyan culture. We're pretty big on independence and privacy.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Nate, what did your group say?
We also said no because, you walk by people on the street and they just ignore you.
Mm-hmm.
No one talks to you. Everyone just does their own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's a little bit different from our culture. Our culture doesn't value hospitality quite as much as the Kenyan culture does. So here are a few pictures. These are some kids just happy. They love having their pictures taken, so they're pretty happy to have see a camera. This is a picture of a woman that you might find in the rural parts of Kenya. What part is the rural part of Kenya? Does anyone remember? We mentioned the north and the south. Which one do you guys remember being rural? Me?
The north.
The north. Good. So this woman, I met her in northern Kenya. She has a lot of big traditional beads, and you can see the desert land behind her. And these are some more happy kids. Okay. So to finish up, I want you guys, we're going to answer some questions, and I want you to hold your answer really close so that none of your friends can see it. Okay, first I want you to answer what is one of the biggest staples in Kenyan food, and what is a big breakfast that people eat a lot of the time. Wait until I tell you to answer. Now, 3, chai is a big staple in the Kenyan diet. Okay. Now, what is one of the more, what is one of the ways that the women like to make themselves feel more beautiful in Kenya? Wait until I get now. 2, good. 2, jewelry is one of the ways that women try to make themselves feel more beautiful. Now, what is one thing in Kenya that they don't wear that we do wear? Now. Good. 1, shorts are not worn very often in Kenya. And last but not least, what is one of the big values that the Kenyan people have? And I'll read these to you. Getting ahead, hospitality, or professionalism. Now. Good. 2, hospitality is one of the big values that the Kenyan people have.
Good.